And thanks for coming back for part 2 of using the Thousand Oaks Aquatics L2 LED Algae Scrubber. We're going to install this on a existing aquarium service customer's tank. This tank has probably been running for 15 plus years. It was at one time a reef tank, and I remember selling this customer some of his corals and such from the fish shop that I worked at back in the mid-90s. It's become a service customer of mine. It's no longer really a reef tank. It's a fish-only tank that has live rock in it. There really isn't an algae problem, but what we're going to try to do is address the weekly growth of algae that occurs on the inside acrylic panel. We're also going to try to bring the nutrients, the nitrates and phosphates, down in the tank. To do so, we've got this algae scrubber, and what sets this unit apart from what we've used in the past are two things. First of all, its size. It's a much smaller unit, so it may fit a few more applications. It's still kind of a retrofit arrangement though. And the second thing that's different about this unit is the fact that it uses LED lights. These lights are not only a lot more intense with less wattage consumption, which in turn will generate less heat. Probably the biggest advantage of the LED lights is the fact that we don't have to change the bulbs. Theoretically, they're supposed to last for 50,000 hours or 8 to 10 years, something like that. This unit, as with the other unit, has a spray rod that has a screen on it. The algae grows on the screen, and then we take this unit out on a weekly basis, scrape the algae off that screen. I've just kind of assembled this unit here on the dining table to kind of prepare myself for tomorrow, and this will be the first time that I've actually hooked up the LED lights with these heat sinks or radiators on there. I'm a little concerned there might be some influence of heat coming off of them, but that's part of the reason for plugging it in tonight. So I've kind of hooked up the wires and such here. This will be the first test of the unit to see how well it works, and hopefully there's no sparks or anything that comes shooting out as a result of me improperly wiring it. So there you go. So I mentioned there were two unique things about the L2 scrubber from Thousand Oaks Aquatics, and that is its smaller size, so it'll fit a few more applications, and two, the fact that it uses LED lighting. We've already discovered that the advantages of LED lighting are the fact that the bulbs don't need to be replaced for a long period of time, whereas other units that might use fluorescent lighting, the bulbs have to be changed every 3 months. Now you can see here as we lift out the spray rod that not only is there a diffuser mechanism in there, but those aren't white bulbs. Those are actually red and blue bulbs. Spectrums that specifically impress or enhance the growth of algae. So again, this unit being smaller and possibly with the LEDs more efficient, but also with that particular color spectrum it's producing, we're expecting it to grow, if not a lot more algae much quicker, which in turn the ultimate goal is as fast as those algae grow, they're going to consume nutrients out of the system and ultimately starve something. In my case, usually it's algae problems. So come along with us as we explore more possibilities using algae. Okay, we've arrived and we're ready to install the algae scrubber. We have our helpers with us here this morning. As I mentioned, we're going to be installing the algae scrubber, the L2 LED algae scrubber by Thousand Oaks Aquatics on this tank here. You can see there's no real big algae problem, but what we are going to try to do is decrease the algae that may grow on the panel, maybe get some of the rock to clear up a little bit, And ultimately, this being a 15-plus-year-old reef tank, I'm sure it's got some elevated levels of nitrate and phosphate, which we'll test here in just a little bit. One of the first things I want to address, though, is whenever working on a saltwater tank, because of the salt and the splatter that tends to occur over time, things do tend to dry out. In particular, the snap clamps on the drain line here, which was up here and is no longer there, and you can see that that could have fallen down. So we've got a worm clamp this morning we're going to put on there, which will eventually, the screw will probably rust as well. But my point is that whenever you go in and start making modifications, you have to pay attention to other things that you might be making a bit of a problem for yourself. So a lot of times the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, really kind of applies, and I really do apply that to a lot of my aquarium services, because you can turn them into monster projects afterwards.
And so in quick review, we are placing on this old reef tank an algae scrubber, this being the Turbo Aquatics L2 algae scrubber. The basic concept is we will be growing naturally occurring algae within a highly illuminated area. These algae will compete for the same nutrients that the nuisance algae is feeding on, and in turn will outcompete the nuisance algae. The improvement in this scrubber is that it uses LED light technology. Have you made your plans yet to attend the Marine Aquarium Expo this coming April 6th and 7th of 2013? This is the largest aquarium consumer trade show in North America and a destination spot for marine hobbyists and coral frag enthusiasts. Held at the Orange County Fair and Event Center and featuring over 70 exhibitors, speakers, demonstrations, and a huge opportunity drawing. There's even a fin zone for entertaining young hobbyists. That's the Marine Aquarium Expo at the Orange County Fairgrounds this coming April 6th and 7th, Saturday 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Adults $15, senior and military only $10, and kids under 12 are free. For more information, visit marineaquariumexpo.com.
Come join us at the Marine Aquarium Expo. See you soon.
Reef Hobbyist Magazine believes that our hobby, our fellow hobbyists, and the animals in our care are best served by the free distribution of quality information. Reef Hobbyist Magazine provides hobbyists with critical husbandry information with an emphasis on marine ornamental breeding efforts. Reef Hobbyist Magazine is available for free in local fish stores across the country, or you can subscribe at www.reefhobbyistmagazine.com.
Hello, my name is Jim Stime. I'm with Midwater Systems, and I'm the developer of the Jelly Aquarium. The Jelly Aquarium is a tank designed specifically for the keeping of jellyfish. I offer 5 different sizes of tanks designed to be built into a wall or a freestanding cabinet. I also offer the inexpensive Mini Jelly Aquarium, which has its filter system built into its backside. Additionally, I offer tank-raised moon jellyfish, as well as a line of tanks designed for producing your own jellyfish. For more information on this fascinating world of keeping jellyfish, visit jellyaquarium.com. Okay, so the first step in the process is to start from the back side of the cabinet and work my way forward. What that involves is the electrical power strip. We're going to mount that on the back wall in there, and we'll feed the power cord down to the outlets below.
As with most long-time running aquariums, all the electrical outlets are already being used. My first challenge is to find an open outlet so I can use.
And as with most aquarium cabinets, there's always a shortage of electrical outlets. So I think we'll probably, I don't know if I can find another home for one of those plugs there, or if I want to plug into the existing power strip. I'll figure that out as I get the unit assembled.
I'm gonna start by drilling and attaching not only the power strip, but the LED's ballast to the back wall of the cabinet. I want to be close enough that it's conveniently located to the scrubber, and yet not too close that the spray from the filter or the protein skimmer will affect it.
And now we've got the power supply mounted on the back wall as well. And here are our cords that will connect. My little platform here that the scrubber sits on has a hole for the drain out of the scrubber. Has a slot here that will accommodate the overflow pipe as well as the main pump sending up to it. It also has some little tabs here on the edges. And this is made slightly bigger than the sump, so it sits over the top, and the tabs will help stop it from sliding off. This will end up being the platform that can sit on top to support the algae scrubber. And this will be the algae scrubber. You can see how it sits over the top of the sump. It'll sit there, return its water down through that, as well as pump its water up from this portion of the sump. So I think the pump, the drain bulkhead, and the drain outlets and the emergency overflow pipe are the things that we need to hook up first. So as it turns out, we are able to get our hand through this little slot that will allow me to put the ball valve on the drain side. If I can find where it is, there it is. Snug fit. Okay. And the next will be our overflow pipe. This I will probably end up taking out in a little bit. And it might be a little hard to see, but you can see I've got a ball valve on the drain side of the scrubber. That should help control some of the gurgle noise. And then I've got this overflow pipe here. Both of them come down and I believe are just under or just above the water level, one of the two. Now I need to hook up the water pump, which will sit here and pump up to the spray rod. And with the spray rod in place, we'll need to determine how much hose I need for the pump. This being our pump here, it'll end up sitting in the sump. It'll pump up. Up there. We'll go ahead and cut this tubing just a little bit longer. It's always hard to deal with it when it's too short. I will expect that to slip onto the hose bar, like yay. Right now we just got our tubing slipped over the discharge of the pump. I did find this small little snap clamp, but I have a funny feeling it's going to end up being too big. Yeah, that's not going to work.
As it turns out, I do not have a smaller snap clamp on hand. And without the clamp, there's a good chance the tubing will slip off the water pump. Be sure to come on back for the next part to see how I resolve this problem.